Where you been, dude? I don't think I saw you. Enjoying life. That's funny. That's something I don't do. All right. Good morning, everyone. Let's just got to get the stream going. We'll get started. Enjoying life. What's that? Boy, Chantal, you are reliable. I'll give you that much. You are reliable. I wonder if you're doing it or someone else. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the U.S. Retail News Report. Canada CPI, 10-minute trades trade room. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director for 10-minute trades. Please remember that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures. Now, I want to make something really, really clear this morning. Okay. The ES is not acceptable for this report right now, not in its current, not with the note that's on our daily report. I tested it and it's not working. Okay. And I don't prepare personally the DMMs. So, but I am responsible for what's on there. So I just want to make it clear this morning. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This setup is not working right now. ES with a 10 tick bracket. If you want to do a test, okay, if you want to do a test, you want to know the truth, I wouldn't even bother. The last 4 months have not worked. So, Lewis, it should be today. They're working on the ID. I don't know. It should have been working. It shouldn't have been changed. So, Lewis, my only guess is because of the ID. And I know I sent an email. It will be resolved today if it's not working. So I already emailed to make sure the ID was correct. Now, I don't know if something happened, et cetera, but it will be working today. I don't know what time yet. Okay. But I can tell you definitively it will be working today. And I don't understand. I don't know why it's not working, because I don't, I'm not trying to pass the buck here, but I don't do DMM prep, and I don't do the whatchamacallit. I don't do the ID activations. All right, so starting off with problems, which is part of the job. Nothing goes smoothly when you're dealing with technology all the time. Let me show you a couple of things. It'll work later, Lewis. It'll work later. So Canada CPI, it's not a family money trade, and I'm trading in our family money account, okay? So Canada CPI, let me find the right video that I'm looking for. Bear with me 1 second. One second. So Canada CPI is moving again. It's had one recent no fill, if I remember correctly. This was October. And the only reason I'm talking about it, because some people like to trade what's definitely considered a lower risk report. Canada's only $5 a tick. This used to be a really powerful fast moving report. So it might have been October that didn't fill. That's what it looks like. No, it filled late. The question is, did it follow through? Now, it was a pretty small move, pretty weak in October. All right, not a good move in October. September. Now, what I'm looking at, September. Here's September. September it filled. And it shoots up. So September it had a nice looking move. Okay. September it had a good looking move. So, you know, Canada's new. In other words, we brought it back recently to possibly trade. It's an old report that hadn't been working due to the crisis that the world is going through. Okay. So I believe Canada can be traded. I wouldn't trade it huge. Okay. I wouldn't trade it huge. And there is a mini report for it. So let me show you. Hold on. I thought I was not losing my mind. Am I losing my mind? Hold on. Hold on. There was definitely a setup for it. There it is. I knew I wasn't going crazy. So it's a bracket of 4, 59 entry, target of 5 and 12, and a stop of 12. And you're trading 6C 322 if you want to trade Canada. And I think it's tradable. Okay, I wouldn't trade 10 contracts on it because we've only just recently brought it back. And you can tell we benched this report a year ago with waning reactions to the news. Okay, it appears to be coming back now as inflation is gearing up. Okay, October, as we saw, had no move. All right. So that's the story with Canada. Now the US, here's what we're dealing with the US is a lot of news, right? A lot of news. So there's a part of me that, you know, I don't really want to watch Canada because I'd rather watch gold on retail. Now, I said clearly, I want to say it again. Give me a second. I just want to set up my recorder. So I do not recommend that the ES be traded today on retail. I tested with a bracket of 7 over the past 4 months, 4 reports, and it didn't work. So I would not recommend the ES. Not with a bracket of 7. If you want to test in sim or use the micro ES, I wouldn't use anything smaller than a bracket of 10. No smaller than a bracket of 10. It just hasn't worked very well. And I personally wouldn't trade it. The reactions have not been very good. They were very slow, they hesitated a lot. Not good setups, in my opinion. Not good setups. So we're doing a trap trade on retail, and it's been working month after month. So with a trap trade, you expect a move in one direction, and then we sell. Let's say it goes up, we sell. If it goes down, we buy. Trap trade is a specialized type of a reversal trade. Now, I also reached out to our programmer over the logo situation, and we verified that somehow, somewhere, the logo is not on the server. So I hope I can get that fixed today, the icon. In other words, when you put on a breakout trade, we should get an icon. And I'm not getting the icon. So I thought, maybe one person out there wasn't getting the icon. I thought maybe it was your computer, but I'm not getting it either. So on a breakout trade, trades are working fine, but the logo, the icon, somehow disappeared off the server. And I mean, stuff happens. I mean, nobody would take the file down. I mean, there'd be no reason to even touch the file or go to where it is. It can't possibly appear, Mark. It's not there. It doesn't. Well, Mark, if you set up your old computer and for some reason it's a different version of the software, it's calling the logo from a different server. That's why it works. That makes sense. It's a different version of the software. And when we had this logo problem initially, we had to move the icon to a different server. So that's why it works on old computers. It's an old version of the software. Excuse me for slurping, folks. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I fell asleep at 7 o'clock last night. And then you know what happens is you fall asleep at 7, you wake up at midnight, and then you can't sleep the whole rest of the night. So I just listened to my roommates, the mice, run around. All right. I just couldn't. My sleeping lately, I shouldn't tell you all this, but I can't sleep these days. Cannot sleep. And everybody look at the clock. You can make your clock bigger if you want, right? Put your cursor dead center of the clock, right click it, and then you get to configure it. Size, tiny. That's what we normally use. Okay. All right. So I'm trading the trap trade this morning on retail because it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. What's the enemy of the trap trade? Let me see if my November video shows us the enemy of a trap trade. Not November, October. An enemy of the trap trade is a trade that moves like a breakout. It bursts in one direction and only goes in one direction. Okay? Now, a trap trade, the analysis of a trap trade can really vary because the trap trade has an old tradition that we're kind of breaking. But I can never get my boss to break old traditions. He can't. I just can't. He's a military guy, and there's no such thing as traditions. There's rules. Rules don't get changed. That's the way the military thinks. Okay. If there's a rule, there's no compromise, no nothing. It's a rule. So he wrote this software. I took it over. I modified it. And I've changed the rules, but I can never get him to follow my rules because he's the boss also. So he's not going to listen to me. See the enemy of the trap trade? It just kept going in the same direction and the trade did not work. And that's life. That's how it goes. That was October. That's not what we want. Okay, we want the price to move up and down. Now, the reason the analysis can differ is because the old tradition of the trap trade is, you notice there's these words called tiers. I just call them orders now. They're not really tiers, but I mean, they are tiers, but they're no different than brackets. And you notice they have a range. I kind of like the fact that they have a range, because that means everybody might trade it slightly differently, which is good. All that means is that's the range the bracket should be, between 16 and 18, and then between 25 and 30. There's a stop, and then the activation time is the one thing I'm going to work on changing the DMM for next year, so that it's really, really clear for all the new folks that don't know about the trap trade. I mean, it's just part of my job to make sure everything is clear. So next year, a lot of good changes coming always. There'll be a lot of new trade setups. There will be no DMMs. Right, Colin. There will be no DMMs. I don't think there's going to be any more DMMs starting today for the next 2 weeks. It's holidays. It's holidays. Still going to have trade rooms, okay? I think we'll get our DMMs for the rest of this week. That's what I would anticipate. Starting next week and then the week after, no DMMs. It's holiday trading. A lot of trade rooms aren't even open. We'll be open for education, for helping new people, but there'll definitely be a little bit less activity because it is the holidays and the trading is not the same. Anyway, just a heads up so everybody knows what's going on, okay? Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, if you'd be kind enough, give us a like, sign up for the channel. You know the deal on YouTube. All right, so what is a trap trade? Anybody even know? Nobody, hardly anyone knows, because we don't, they're not so common. We don't trade them a lot. But it's a type of reversal trade. Now, you can download it if you're a member. The trap trade's on the website. It's part of your subscription. It's an extra strategy. Now, when you set up a trap trade, it says trap trade, and I'm going to use positions, okay? So I'm just going to trade one position for each tier, for each order. So make sure your positions are set 1 and 1. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. Everything else is defaults except for the stop loss position. It should be on last fill price, not on average price. It must be on last fill price. The older version of the trap trade, which is totally tradable, nothing wrong with using it. It, though, defaults to a different stop loss position, which I changed. It should be last fill price, not average. I do my stop last on the trap trade. So tier 1 is going to be, I'm going to choose 17 ticks. I'm going to choose 18 ticks. I want the market to move so I get filled. I don't want to make it easy for the market to fill me, but I would like to get filled on my second position if I get filled on my first. So I'm going to go with a setting of 28 on my second order. Remember, it's a range, so you can go between 25 and 30. The entry time, what that means is that's the time of the trade. What time does this report get released? It's 8:30. So that should say 8:30. And then your actual time that your orders show up on the chart is how many order preparation seconds you put in. I'm going to put in 5 seconds. So 5 seconds before the report comes out, my orders are going to show up on the chart. 8:29:55. But you just have to tell it 5 seconds before 8:30. It's not complicated. But understand what it means. I'm going to change the name of that also come the new year. So Eric's, your targets are going to be the opposite tiers. Those are the targets. Now they're big, so you might want to shrink them after you get filled. But you'll see the way that I trade it. But there are no set targets. It's not quite the same as a breakout trade. The targets are the opposite side tiers. Because remember, our orders are one cancels the other, but not in a trap trade. In a trap trade, the orders stay on and they become the targets, but they're probably a little bit big. So you might consider shrinking them. But you have time almost always to determine that after you get filled. I would probably wait at least 30 seconds, possibly up to 45 to see if I get a fill. It's not 10 seconds with a trap trade or 20 seconds. It's wiser to wait a little bit longer. And it's hard to be patient in a trap trade, but more often than not, patience is better than rushing. And that's my biggest problem is patience. You know, everybody has big problems with tests. There is no entry time. It's 10 seconds, 5 seconds before 8:30. It says order preparation seconds, 5. There is no entry time. So I don't know if you're on the wrong strategy or what. It's a trap trade. All right, one more time. From the top, bracket center, leave it alone. Average price bars, leave it alone. Position size 1 and 2, both should be on 1. No, I'm not on the screen. You should just see the charts. Charts and the panel. Eileen, charts and the panel. Okay, stop loss ticks. I want to welcome everybody new here, but no, you're not going to see my face this morning. Not yet. You want to see my face? I don't think you want to. Okay, that's me. All right. There you go. Oh, whoa, my news. Whoops. That's why I don't show my face, because I just can't deal with it. Too good looking. So let's fix our news. We'll go back over the trap trade setup. There's a lot of news that makes up these reports. So I'm just watching Canada. I'm not going to trade it because it's not my family money account. It's not fair. I think Canada has a good chance of working. So again, trap trade, bracket center, leave it alone. Price at the time. Average price bars 10, leave it alone. Positions 1 and 2, they should be on a 1 and a 1 if you're only trading one contract. Wait for spike, leave it alone. It's set to 5. Stop loss position must be last fill price. My tiers are 18 and 28. Entry time, that's the time the trade is released. The time my orders show up on the chart is order prep seconds. 5. I'm using 5 seconds. Stop is 18. That's it. Nothing else has to be changed. Nothing else gets changed. Apply it and okay it. When you enable a trap trade, you'll get a logo. And the logo, see, the logo, the icon is there because I don't know why. The only thing I could say is I kind of do know why. It's because the trap trade logo is in a different location. It's in a different location than the breakout icon. Let's check our time sync. Let's check our time sync. I know people are saying, hey, isn't that the same shirt you wore yesterday? It is, but it's a different one. I have 5 of the same shirt. I'm really a pretty crazy person. I have a very bad relationship with clothes. So I checked my time by going to the website time.is. Okay. Go to the website time.is and check your time sync. So what do I mean? I have a bad relationship with clothes. I hate clothes. It's not that, no, I'm not a nudist or anything like that. But I'm not a clothes horse. Does anybody even know what that means? A clothes horse? Does anyone know what that means? I am like a cartoon character, a closet full of the same outfit. Garanimals. I don't remember what a garanimal is, Calvin. You're showing your age, brother. So I think retail sales are going to be better than they think. I think retail sales, and don't forget also, New York Empire State is coming out also. I would like to see one of them being positive and one of them being negative. That would help a trap trade. That would help a trap trade. So I will try to be patient in this trade. And remember, the enemy is a move in one direction that continues. And it has not been doing that on this report, except one time recently. So I am hearing Financial Juice Pro in my headset with the news results. Is anybody trading Canada CPI? Anybody? Albert, you're trading? So Albert, let me know what happens. I'm not setting up the trade on my computer. I just want to concentrate on US retail. Let me know what happens to you if you're trading it live. I mean, usually we can tell, but every now and then you can't. If I was in my regular account, I would trade them both, but I don't want to have a trade that's not a family money trade in the family money trade account. It's not quite fair to do it that way. Although we did do it once. I don't want to get in the habit of doing it. So 5 seconds before the news, my trap trade orders will show up on the screen. In the old days, and when I say the old days, when I first got here, the trap trade was quite different. But you used to put the orders on 40 seconds before the report, and the markets would rarely fill you before the news came out. Nowadays, if you put your orders on a chart 40 seconds before a report, you'll almost always get filled early. Which you don't want to get filled early. You just don't want to get filled early, because then a report becomes a coin toss. It's not based on the event news. It's based on a random fill. And then it's just a toss of the dice whether the report's going to work, the trade's going to work or not, because you're filled before the news came out. Generally, also, we had a rule, again, in the old days, if the news filled you before, if you got filled before the news came out, you were supposed to close out a trade. Nowadays, we look at trend a little bit more. Gold, not a gigantic trend right now. Now, for the trap trade, I turn off my crosshair. So I have arrows. I want an arrow because I may want to move my orders. Tiers, we call them. It's a fancy word for orders. Now, the gold open was a little bit quiet today, wasn't it? Okay. Gold gets followed. That's why I don't put my orders on early. So the news is going to come out now. Empire State came out. Now the news is out. We're not that interested what the news is, okay? It doesn't really matter that much. It's a little bit lower. And we're just not getting a fill though. If we don't get a fill in 45 cents, it's going to fill. Okay, it filled. So now I want the price to pull back. I don't want it to keep going up. If it keeps going up, I'm going to get stopped out. Now, if it doesn't, it looks like it's going to fill my top order. It doesn't look like it's going to fill my top order. If it doesn't, I can click cancel the outer order, okay? I can cancel my outer order because it doesn't look like it's going to fill it. Let's see if it pulls down a little bit more. It's not a very good mover. Not a very good mover. So I'm going to cancel my outer order. I think it's long enough. I'll shrink my stop. So no matter what, I cannot lose money on this trade. Okay. All right. So it wasn't moving very well. Maybe I traded too fast, but we weren't getting a pullback. So I moved my stop to break even plus a couple of ticks. Right now, I would be flat. It just isn't pushing down at all. Now, maybe I was too fast. It looks like Canada was a problem. It looks like Canada was a problem. Now, it was more than a minute and a half, and there was no movement. So let's watch it. I might have gotten out a little too quick. If it drops now, see, now it's going down. Now it's going down. You know, maybe I should have moved my stop just half. Okay. So tough break. Tough break. There would have been a much better profit right there. I moved my stop a little bit too close to the current price. A little bit too close to the current price. Had I left my stop, maybe just moved it halfway instead of all the way, I would have been able to take advantage of that profit. Okay, maybe $100, I would say, instead of 20. It's pretty choppy in its reaction. Pretty choppy in its reaction. Not really getting a good movement either direction. So look, we lost. We didn't make as much as we could have, but you can't cry in a corner over the fact that the movement is just not super conducive to a good trap, okay? But you could see why it wouldn't have been a great breakout, because it did go in both directions. It moved in both directions. But able to get out with a small couple of profit, covered my expenses really. And, you know, a minute and a half, possibly if I would have waited 2 minutes, probably could have gotten a little bit more profit out of it. So you can't sweat it, because now it's going the opposite direction. Gold's going to test the high. That's what gold wants to do here. It wants to test the high, and it's being pulled into that high. Okay, it's being pulled into that high. Now it looked to me on the video. If we look at the video, Canada. I don't think Canada worked. Albert, am I correct that Canada did not work? Still in it. Okay. Did it fill you long or short? I thought it might have filled you long. I could be wrong, because oh good, it filled you short. Then you should be okay. I think you'll be okay. Oh boy, maybe I should shut my mouth. Hang on 1 second. Bear with me, folks. I want to thank everybody for coming. Okay. We're going to be back here There's a lot of folks visiting. We have a lot of trades today. You could see it just was not a great, we could have waited 4 minutes, but that's a little bit long. That's a little bit long. Albert, look at the where it went right to the high of the, right to the open. Albert went right to the open. I don't know if you have those pivots on your chart. I don't know if you have those pivots. So the trap, I made 20 bucks, probably could have made 100 with a little bit more patience. Probably could have made 100 with a little bit more patience. Let me quickly show you the video of the report. One of these days, I will develop the patience to trade the trap trade perfectly. It's very difficult. And look at the way it's just chopping around. It would have been very hard it was hard to make money on this trade because of the way it's just not finding a direction. It's got no direction. Here's a replay quickly of the report so you could see it. So my orders show up. There's the trap trade. Now, let me explain it real quick. Up above, you've got, if you go up, you're selling. If you go down, you're buying. Up, I'm selling. Down, I'm buying. Canada, Albert says it filled them short. So the trap trade, it goes up, and it does fill pretty fast right there, but it doesn't hit the second order. So I only had one target, one position. All right, I waited to see if it would fill the other position. And then I moved my stop too close. That was my mistake. I should have left my stop above my entry, above right there. But I kept bringing it down to guarantee a profit because I really didn't expect it to go back up. Okay, I didn't. I did not. So management, better management, not, yes, better management might have gotten me more money. Albert, I'm not saying I would have done it, but I might have put my stop above the open. I don't know if you have that open on your chart. Okay. But I'm glad you made some money. Folks, we will be back here. We'll be back here 10 o'clock for crude, and we're going to try our after news setup on crude. I'll use the MCL for the after news setup, okay? And we'll look at our normal setup on crude. Okay, go big on crude. Oh, Calvin, I love you, man. Calvin, I love you. You've been here as long as me, Calvin. Thanks, everybody on YouTube. Give us a like. Come into our trade room on YouTube. It's free this week. 10MT Pro. 10MT Pro. YouTube, and you can come into our trade room. 10MT Pro. Everybody that's here, don't forget we have a free masterclass on Friday. To register, it's a jobs report ADP. Just familymoneytrades.com. Friday at 1 p.m. Free masterclass, okay? And also, we're giving a webinar on Thursday with Rightline. We got a lot going on this week. We'll send an email on the Thursday webinar. It'll invite you to the Friday masterclass, okay? So don't forget, and of course, don't forget our holiday special. We want everybody to join with us for the new year. It's going to be a great new year. All right. So the master class is the big deal for this week. Friday at 1, going to go over the U.S. jobs report and the ADP report. And I'll see everybody at 10 o'clock if you want to learn about possible ways to trade crude. Okay, folks. I'll see everybody in a little bit. Take care.